Well, good morning, folks. It's Richard Gene the Fishing Machine here. Beautiful, absolute beautiful morning here in the Tennessee Valley. Now, it's a little bit nippy this morning. Matter of fact, it's about 52 degrees. Pretty cold. But I'm going to tell you what. The last week and a half, we've been having a lot of cool nights. And the water temperature is dropping, and it's dropping quick. It's dropped from 84 degrees about 2 weeks ago into around 72, 73 degrees on the surface I'm talking about. When this happens in the fall, and by the way, fall is here, crappie, talking about crappie, will migrate from deeper water situations up shallow. Now there's a movement of fish right now that's already hitting the docks, and this is the time of the year where I'm going to tell you what, I love crappie fishing this time of the year, probably more than any other. And the reason is because these fish are so predictable. And what I'm talking about is a lot of these fish is going to move in shallow, and I love to catch shallow water crappie. But what I love more than anything is fishing docks, skipping up under docks. This is a very productive technique, especially right now. And that's the water temps that I look for. Anywhere from 75 degrees on the surface and down to around 55 degrees in the fall. Now later on in the fall, the fishing, it even get better, it'll improve, especially the size of crappie. Generally speaking, the colder the water gets, the more those bigger fish will move in under those docks. But they use these docks, the shade during the day, because crappie, when they do move in on these docks in the fall, they want a shade, and they'll lay in ambush right there waiting for shad to come by. Now, the reason they're under there is because there's a lot of shad migrating up shallow because of the falling temperatures. And they're keying in on shad about that long. About that long. And this is the lure that I like to use, or this is the way I like to rig it up. And it's basically the best that I've found, and that's a weedless jig, just like that one. Now, if you notice, you will see a weed guard, and it's a single strand of 40-pound test monofilament line. And what I do is tie my own. I actually have a video or two about that, and I just use a single strand, not a double, but a single. And I'll center it up right in the center of that head so it'll come through the water clean, just like that. I don't want it to tilt at an angle. I don't want it to do anything but come through the water clean, just like that. Now this is a standard that I use, 1/32 of an ounce jig head with a size 4 hook. Now sometimes I'll bend this hook point up just slightly too, and that'll get you a little bit better hook sets. If you're missing fish, and a crappie's a soft biting fish, a lot of times they're not aggressive, and the way to catch them, especially if you're using a weed guard, is to bend that hook up with a pair of pliers up just slightly. Instead of it, you can see how it is right now, it's running parallel with the hook shank. Just bend it up just a little bit, and you'll get better penetration. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing today. Very, very, very good pattern when it comes to crappie.
Hello there! Y'all doing all right? Are ye? Well, yeah, we're gonna have some beans and taters in here in a little bit. Y'all can come on over if you want to and eat some of them. They're gonna be pretty good. And we're gonna have some squash, too, and some maters. Y'all come on over. and we'll eat and chew the fat just a little bit.
Now, what we're going to be fishing with today, or what I'm going to start off with, is just a Bobby Garland, a 2-inch, Bobby Garland Blue Ice jig. This is one that I used to use a whole lot, and it's been a while since I've used the Bobby Garland, but the fact of the matter is that shape is a perfect shape when it comes to crappie. The profile of this bait looks just like a shad coming through the water. And I would prefer, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, I prefer mono as far as a weed guard any day compared to any kind of steel or metal or wire. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a lot better. Your catch ratio will be much higher if you'll tie your own. And that's just my opinion. Now this jig head is a 1/32 of an ounce. And that's a size number 4 hook in it, eagle claw hook. Now I'm using a 6.5 foot rod right here, light action rod. It has, oh my goodness, a wimpy tip, and I prefer that when I'm using braid if I'm skipping docks. This is 8-pound test braid, and this is a 6-pound test fluorocarbon leader, which fluorocarbon is not necessary. I'm just trying to use it up. Matter of fact, oftentimes, if I break this leader off, I'll probably tie direct to the braid. Crappie are not line shad. Now, as far as the reel, this is a 2000 size Johnny Marr spinning reel, which, like I always say, and the truth is, it's nothing more than a Daiwa reel. All right, let's see what we can do. Now, before we get started, my favorite connection is a double uni knot. From braid to mono, or from braid to fluorocarbon, either one. A double uni knot holds up real well for me, folks. Usually I'll tie a loop knot, but I have a uni knot tied to this jig right here, which is fine. Alright, let's see if we can catch another one. Fall is here. Listen to the ducks. Tree ducks. Them's crows. This is how they sound to me. Alright, folks, let's get it back here. And those fish is about 3.5 feet deep, and there's quite a few in there. Look here. Now that might have been a bluegill. That didn't feel like a crappie. There he is. Boy, that fish knocked the fire out of it. Come on in here, crappie. I mean, he knocked the doggone out of it. That's a little black crappie right there. Now that fish hit it going away from me. I mean, he felt a lot bigger than that, folks. Oh, he's probably 8.5 inches, but he's fat. Let's let him go. Nailed the fire out of it, and that's exactly what happened right there. So let's get back in here and see if we can do that again. And he hit it hard because undoubtedly there's some competition right there. They'll do that if there's several fish right there and they're in a feeding mood. Let's bring it. See, oh my goodness, I missed that fish. He knocked the fire out of it. Did y'all see that line jump? Let's go back down through there again. All right, let's see what happened. There you go. He got it that time. That one's stripping a little drag. Because he's a pretty doggone good fish. That's the reason. Look yonder. Come on in here, boy. That's a heavy little fish, to be honest with y'all. That's what I'm talking about right there. Okay. And this is not a real big fish, probably about 10 inches long. But that fish wanted that bait. Just a typical 10-inch crappie. Fat little thing going back in there. There he goes. Alright folks, let's try these docks right here. We'll see. They're set up in around 7 feet of water. That's plenty. That's about the depth of water I look for this time of the year. 7 feet. And I want it to be pretty close to the river too. Docks is pretty close to the river. That's another thing that I look for this time of the year. But I'm going to work with these shades right here and by the post. A lot of times they'll get right beside the post this time of day, really tight. And you got to actually rub the post or keep that bait right there by the post for a while before they'll commit. It just depends on how aggressive these fish are. Now here's a good shade back up in there. Let's get it back up in there as far as we can get it. And I'm fishing about 3.5 feet deep, 3.5, 4 feet deep. That's going to be right on a 7-foot dock. Going to be about right. Hey, we just got a bite right there. There he is, dead. Gone it, I missed him. Now folks, that was probably a crappie. Let's get back in there again. That felt like a crappie. Let me put it that way. Yeah, there he is. Come on out of there. See if it's a black crappie or white crappie. But now, I tell you, it's real important to get that bait back up in there a long ways. And I quit shooting docks years ago. Now I skip them. I skip them because you can keep farther, you can keep away from the dock a lot farther, and I feel like I catch more fish because of it. There's no prop wash that's going up under the dock, but that's a black crappie. Let's let him go. Okay, so we do have some right here. Come on back. There we go. All right, we're doing it now. Now remember, this is 75-degree water temperature, and the fish are already coming up shallow. It don't take much. We've had some cool nights for the last, a week and a half. They started off in the 60s. Now they're getting around 50s, around the mid-50s. So that's what I look for this time of year. All right, let's get it way back up under there. We ain't done yet. We're gonna try. We're gonna keep making repetitive casts. What it is, they're probably there and they just not wanting to bite. There's one. Oh my goodness, that was a good one. Let's try it again. If that was a crappie, that was a good one. Let's see if we can do that again. There's another one right there. I may have found them. I mean, that fish knocked the fire from it. But you can see how I'm staying away from the dock. I don't want to be real tight. And not a real big one, but he sure did hammer that jig, and I barely got him right there. But we got him. The first one I hooked was a lot bigger. Let's let him go. I guarantee you that. But they're right there. There's a school of fish right there. If they'll stay, we'll catch 2 or 3 more. But yeah, stay in your distance is real important. Now this is not what we consider a shallow dock here in the south, 7 foot, or not for this lake or for the Coosa River. Let me put it that way. All right, folks, let's see if we can catch one from this angle. There's one. Y'all see that line hop? Golly, that fish don't want to move. Come on up here. That's why he's a big old crappie. That's a good one right there. But what I done is I snuck around and changed angles. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I was right over there casting this way. Then I snuck around come on around here on the back side. Now I'm throwing in the area where these fish are piled up. And it ended up catching a big fish. Not a big one, but a good fish. I'm calling them big because for the day, that was a pretty good one. So let's cast it right back down through there. Okay, let's bring it back. Ooh. That may be the only bite I get. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you what, it was worth coming back here, coming around just to catch that fish. But angles are very, very important in my opinion when it comes to crappie fishing, especially these docks. If you're fishing a complete wrong angle, they won't bite. So that's why it's important to go all the way around the dock. Because what you'll be doing is fishing from different angles if you do that. And when you find that correct angle, if the fish are there, you'll catch them. Once you find the right depth, how deep they are. And usually, you know, like I've always said on these shallow docks, if a dock's 5 foot, I'll fish halfway, about 2.5 feet. If it's a 7 foot, well, I'll fish about 3.5 feet deep. You know, I mean, y'all get the gist of what I'm saying, and that's good enough. Usually that works most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. All right, let's try this dock. Now this dock right here, I have caught fish here, look here, in the past. Oh my goodness, I just saw, golly. That ain't a bad fish either. What about that, folks? Come on up in here. That's a good crappie right there. Golly. It's been a few years, but I remember catching some good ones right here. All right, let's get him off. There's a lot of fish up under there, or I just hit that fish in the head. I don't know. I know one thing we're fixing to find out. Let's let him go. Going back. All right, we're going to change angles. I'm not doing real good from this angle. I've caught 1, 2, I think I've caught 4 fish right here on this dock. And I know for sure there's more. I'm either fishing the wrong angle or something. So I'm going to go around here on the front and I'm going to cast back that way. Then I'm going to go over there on the other side and cast back this way. That gives us 3 different angles. One of those should work a little better than just 3 crappie. Okay, I found some more fish right here, folks. Missed one right there. I'm on the front side now. Let's see if we can catch him. There he is. Pretty good one. Come on out of there. Sometimes I got a horse on. I don't like to horse fish, but sometimes I have to fishing like this. Even these smaller fish like this get you wrapped up in a post if you don't watch it. But this wind, this light breeze is blowing me straight in. But that's okay. But that fish right there wanted it. See how much deeper it is than those other fish? See? He eat it. So this might be the correct angle that I'm fishing right here. You know, it makes a very big difference. And why is that? I believe it's because, this is my belief, and I've thought about it for years. I believe it's just because of the angle or the direction that these fish are positioned. They're all going to be facing the same way. Yeah, there's one looking at it. There he is too. I have a built-in live scope. I don't need to spend a bunch of money on a live scope when I can see them in my mind just before they bite. Quit. Look here. Going back. Let's make another cast. That fish has done on it again. He sees that jig. There he is. I got him that time. Sometimes it takes multiple casts. They've been chasing it like crazy. That's a little old bitty dude right there. Okay. Live scope Richard Gene. Back at it once again. Let's push off. Yeah, there's one right there looking at it. I can feel it. I feel he's looking at it. Golly. Ain't that something? He followed it all the way up, but he didn't hit it. Let's try it again. Yep. Oh my goodness. He was looking. He got it that time. Yep. That's all there are to it, really. If you got a built-in live scope, you can save lots and lots of money. Okay. And believe it or not, the lesson for the day is we all have built-in live scopes if we would just use it. It's called the hunting ability. Okay. If you're a good hunter, you should be a good fisher. Because it's the same thing. Basically the same thing. Whoa. I'm talking about whoa. Well, folks, let's go back over a little bit about what I've done here for the last 2 or 3 hours. Hadn't been fishing very long. But what I did is, number one, I stayed close to deep water. And I didn't fish a dock that was over probably around 8 feet deep, 8 to 9 feet deep. Except for that one dock where I caught those 2 stripers. And it was a little bit deeper than that. So I stayed close to deep water, but fished, you know, you might call the shallower docks. And that's the ones that I focus on early in the fall, like right now. Now later on, those fish I get up. I've caught fish under docks that wouldn't have but 18 inches of water up under them. They'll absolutely do that a little bit later when the water temperature falls a little bit in my neck of the woods. But remember this, there can be several different patterns on your lake at any given time to catch these little guys. I want to say God bless each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for all the great comments. And hey man, woo. Oh, the adrenaline was pretty bad today. But if I'd have fished a little bit longer, folks, it would have gotten really bad. Hey man, woo. Doggone, the dogs are barking. Hey man, woo.
And remember,
Go fishing when you can, because it's good for you.